I'm live. Doing good. How you doing? Hopefully everybody's doing well. Hopefully everybody's doing great. No time to hate. Just trying to get this money out here. Just trying to help people and provide value this year like I've never done before. So I'm bringing you some more knowledge that I got. Might not think it's a lot, but I feel like it's quality. So I got to be doing what I got to do. Coming live straight to you. I think the comments are open. I'm hoping. But we're going to see. Internet connection sometimes, doesn't work out right, but go with it, see what works. Just got to keep trying, keep making it better, keep coming through with better quality for the people. So, topic for today is about giving the people what they want. And I mean, obviously, if you're trying to make a lot of money, trying to not be average, trying to not do this like working for somebody else type thing, working on somebody else's goals and dreams, trying to actually make something for yourself, trying to whatever it is you want to do, trying to provide value. So, what you got to do is really help people. You got to provide value to people. The more value you provide to people, the more income you're going to get, the more money you're going to make. So, that's why I take some time today to make some rhymes and say that you got to create something that's based on what people want, not what you think they want. This is the one of the biggest problems that I see in business today is people have this idea that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna sell this, and it's just an idea that they think that people would want it. A lot of times it's based off something that they want. Well, sometimes this does work, but the majority of the times from what I've seen it doesn't. So I mean really, what's the only way to find out what people actually want is to go out there and test your product. Like give people your product. And even if you don't have a product, you can just run the idea by people. The more people, the better. And many times people are surprised as to, you know, people's response. And a lot of times what happens too is that, people have an idea and they'll test it out and they'll give their idea to other people and people will find out that, this is kind of what I want, but they just need to change a few things. And when you get these things dialed in right, then the sky's the limit, You just keep on improving because as soon as you release your product, it might not be perfect. Some people are going to have issues with it. And then you can just keep on improving on that and constantly make it better. So, as always, I believe the comments are open. If you have anything to say, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can type something myself and see if it works. All right. Looks like we're in business. What is good, everybody? All right. So, got some guidelines to follow when you're creating something that you want to help people with. You want to provide value to people. So, go ahead and think about like, when you're just thinking about what does someone want, like when you have an idea, because that's where everything starts. Ideas are the most powerful. And like I've said before, a lot of these corporations, they have really, really a difficult time being creative. A lot of people that work for somebody else, it's difficult for them to be creative. A lot of people that have excelled in the school system, it's difficult for them to be creative because they've been through a system where everybody's been telling them to like learn X, Y, and Z, and then repeat that. And that's like, where's the creativity in that? That's not what people want. People want something new. So what you got to do is find something where an issue people have where there's actually like some type of like pain involved, like emotion. Like what kind of like painful emotions do people have that they want to get over? Like what is bothering them, like could be anything really. A big one is, you know a lot of people sell diet stuff. A lot of people have trouble like losing weight. A lot of people have a lot of emotional issues with their appearance, stuff like that. So, that's just an example. There's a lot of examples that I could go on and on with. So this is just one of them. So, Another important thing, like is your customer, the person that you're really trying to help, are these people like really trying to fix their problem? Like whatever problem you're trying to solve to people, you got to make sure that it's something that they believe that they actually would, go ahead and take action to fix. A lot of things people, are just fine with. You could ask them like, yeah, seems like your car's not working too well. And they could be like, well, it's all right. I'll be fine with it for, I'm just going to drive it till it breaks, something like that. So like obviously right there, this person's not going to want to buy your new system that makes the engine more efficient, something like that, right? So you just got to make sure that people are really trying to solve the problem that you're uh, presenting them a solution for. So next thing is, do your customers really believe that they don't really have many other choices? Like, are there a lot of choices out there for people? Are there a lot of options already that people have to solve this particular problem? And if so, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try it if you think it's a good idea. Sometimes if you see there's a lot of options, it's a big market. That's actually a good thing because that means that there's a lot of people with that particular problem, and all you got to do is just solve it better than everybody else. So also too, you want to be in the kind of business where it's like you don't just solve their problem super easy and then the problem is done. Like it's a problem that is going to take some time. Like I was saying, losing weight. Like people will go on diets. They'll feel better, and then at the end of the day, a lot of these diets that they take, it's just back and forth. Like then they go back to their old ways and they need to try a new diet, stuff like that. So look at a situation where people really are gonna need to put some time and effort into the problem that they're trying to solve, and you want to have like a good relationship that lasts over time with these people. And when people are looking for a solution to their problems, what they want to do is they want to buy from somebody who that they believe is an expert. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. You don't really have to look too much into that. Like, why would you buy something from someone who seems like they don't know what they're talking about? So, yeah, and be really careful to not try to like do too many things at once. Like, try to focus on like as specific of a problem to fix as you can. And if there's more problems that accompany the one issue, then you can create more products for that in the future. But don't try to like do everything with one product. People just people are trying to do one thing at a time. And not only that, but a lot of people that even try to do a lot of things like myself. Like I'll get some kind of course, online course or something, and it's like I'll have like 10 parts to it. And the best thing to do would be to really do like one part a day. But me, I'm trying to like go through the whole thing, and I don't do that as much as I used to, because now I realize that it's harder to retain all the information when I try to cram too much at once. So you just gotta focus on one thing at a time. So getting to that is like all about really narrowing your field, narrowing the focus on what you're trying to solve. So like if it came to losing weight, like there's so many different areas in that. Like you could look at one area being like diet, another area being like exercise. So then you could say like, okay, well, let me narrow this exercise area down. You could say like, I'm gonna focus on like abs. I'm gonna focus on like you know cardio. You could do like cardio abs. You could do like weightlifting for abs. Like the more you narrow it down, the better. I mean, the main thing also too, like there should be some proven type of benefit that people are going to get, because that's really important. Like when you're going and you're presenting your product to customers, it's important not to really focus on selling your product, but focus on letting your customer know like what benefits they're going to get. Like how is this going to help them? Like who are they going to be after they, use your product, go through your course, whatever you have. Like what kind of life are they going to have after they implement this? How is it going to make things better for them? And a real important thing with this is, the more you learn your customer, the more you learn what they actually want, what they need, what they're trying to solve, what kind of action they're trying to take, then the more that you can market it towards this person. And the more that they feel like, that this product that you're marketing towards them is like just for them, like they found the like thing that like fits them perfectly, like the more power you're going to have in selling it. Like, don't try to be like all things to like all people. Focus on the one area of customers that you want, how you can help these people, and that's what you really want to do. So you want to create a good name for the category that you're going to be in, like the category of business that you're going to basically be in, and the products also that you're going to be trying to sell. So you know focus on the value you're going to provide when you're naming these. Like think about how it's going to help these people. um However way you can help people, when you're doing your marketing and everything, you can look into the benefits that people are going to get. Try to The best thing you can do is find customers who are describing their own problem and use their own words. So maybe somebody's got really bad back pain and they're saying, oh, my the middle of my back, it just aches at night, something like that. The middle of my back, it's really painful. Well, if that's what they say, then say like, do you have a really painful backache at night in the middle of your back? Like the exact words that they use, like the exact phrase that they use. That's what you want to do. So this will also help the customer remember it. Like this will help the customer remember you. This will help the customer remember your brand. And I'm actually working on a book right now that's called You Are the Brand. And it's going to be explaining how, like, I feel like a lot of times in the past, the way of doing business was like setting up a company and then you like have your company and your company is pretty much the brand and you're marketing like the name of your company. Well, what you want to do is like really today, people are much more feel much more comfortable buying something from an actual person, like I said before, who they see to be an expert. So you are marketing yourself. Like you are the brand. Like you set the culture for your company, even if it's just you working on it. Like you're setting the culture. And whenever you have, more people that you bring on to your company, then they're going to follow your example. They're going to look at what you set for an example, and they're going to like live up to that culture. So like I like to do rhyming. I like to rhyme when I talk. Just I don't know why. Just like to do it. But that's really useful for business, right? Like a name. Like think of all these like brand names. And if you look at the name, like you can see like a rhyming pattern somewhat. And if not a rhyming, like there's like kind of like, if it's a two-word name, like the syllables will be similar. But yeah, like that just helps things like, stick in people's mind better and longer. Um and yeah, like I was saying before too, when you set up everything, like your website, your business name, uh, your product, everything, these should all be conveying like the benefit it's going to provide, right? So when someone goes to your website and they look at the name of the site, like it should automatically pop into their minds, like, okay, this is the problem. This is my problem. Like this is why I'm here. Like think how many people like, you know, type into Google what their problem is. Like, why is this going on? Like, what is this doing? Like stuff like that, right? So you want to be popping up when they search for stuff. Like you want to be that person when they see it, that they're like, okay, yeah, like this person definitely understands my problem. Like I can tell everything that they're doing, all the information out here like clearly speaks to these issues. And at the same time, you know, when I'm saying like you are the brand, like you don't want to put too much focus on yourself. Like make sure that the majority of the focus is on the person's problem. Like sometimes you will see like just the person almost, and it's like they're looking for attention, they're promoting themselves, and that's is like it's like a fine balance to still like, you know, promote yourself, be the brand, set the culture, but also take a back seat to making sure that the person's problem or issue is like the main thing that's featured throughout all of your content, right? So when you are, you know, setting up your first kind of product and everything and your brand, and you're, you know, you're really trying to like create your own niche, you're like giving it your own its own name, that sets it apart from other solutions, if there are other solutions out there. What you want to do is really like find a market and just learn everything you can about that market. That way you're going to know how you can stand out. Like this is one of the first things. Like, you know, you get the idea, then you go and do the research, then you can start taking action. Like don't skip the research step. Don't go from having the idea to taking the action. Like that's kind of like a big part of this video today is, you know, giving people what they want, not what you think they want. So you need to do that research. And all this being said, you know, it's like when you make when a business makes a lot of money, the most money that they make is not from like a customer buying something one time, but it's from having customers buying things like over and over again, having customers buy more than one product. So, you know, you can start with that one product, and then from there, you can learn about really what the next one's going to be and the next one. And over time, you're just going to get better at understanding your customers and what they need. So, yeah, you want to focus on like the relationship with your customers, having them come back, and just, you know, making their lives better. How can you improve people's lives? How can you provide value? So do some brainstorming. You know, when you look at your ideas, like think about like, you know, give it like a score. Like, you know, how valuable is this? Like how much is this really going to help people? Like how much pain, emotional pain, is this going to remove from people's lives? Stuff like that, right? When it comes to the point where you need to expand your business and bring other people on, what you're going to want to do is make sure that you only deal with the best people, right? Like it'd be better to if you have a budget to hire one or two people that are like in your opinion the best people you could find than to have a team of 10 people who are like the cheapest people that you could find. Um, you know, quality is a big thing, and people are going to see through that. Like if they're dealing with your business and your process, and they're getting to a point where they're, you know, dealing with somebody who they can tell just really doesn't care, is just kind of like reading off a script, like, you know, they're only getting paid like a minimum wage, then that's going to reflect bad on you and your services. Like you want to make sure that you're every step of the way providing value to people. And that's what I'm going to do with another video, is like look at like the process that your customers go through. So I'm going to like break down like the process that people go through when they're going to be like buying something from you. And you want to kind of like have other people and yourself go through that process regularly, so that you can find any kind of like weak link in the process and go and like strengthen it up as soon as possible. So Basically, when you're communicating with your customers, um don't be just like telling them what to do. You want to be more talking to them like a friend and more like you're having a conversation with them, right? um People really like, for the most part, myself included, don't really like to take orders from people, right? Like I would like when people try to give orders. I feel like, especially in the as far as all the jobs that I've worked, in the like kind of corporate culture of things, the way things work is people just give orders to people, and they're a lot of times not very respectful about it. Like people think like, the more authority that a person seems to have over another person, the better that their orders are going to be followed. Well, I mean, that's going to work in the short term on most cases, but people are really going to harbor some resentment. Like the amount of people I hear on a daily basis that get home from a job and just, have some issue about it, the way that their boss is kind of like disrespecting them in subtle ways, things like that. I mean, those are big deals. Like people remember that stuff. Like that's why people leave so many jobs. I've seen issues where, um, good friend of mine, man, he was always going off about like, his boss trying to tell him like, you need to do this, like you need to like do this on the weekend, like on your free time, and he'd be like mad at him, like being harsh with him, like how come you didn't get this done? And this guy is like driving in his sports car and taking vacations and everything, and he's seeing right through this. Like, come on, man. Like, you just got back from a week long vacation. You're telling me I got to do this on my weekend off. And I said to him, man, I'm like, look, I'm like, how much money you think you're making for your boss, man? And he's like, whatever, like, a couple $100,000 a year. And I'm like, well, how much is he paying you? Less than 100,000. I'm like, so why don't you just go what you're already doing and just cut out the middleman, cut out the boss? Well, that's what he did. He just got to like the final straw, whatever you want to say, that broke the camel's back. And he came in, and his boss came in and started like giving him shit again, man. Started like demeaning him, started giving him that attitude. And he was all ready to quit, and he was probably going to give his 2 week and everything. But at that point, he was just like, you know what, man, I'm not going to allow you to disrespect me like this anymore. I quit. Well, when he quit, he wasn't the only one that was being treated like that, right? And he quit, and he's like, I'm gonna go start my own thing. And he went to go say goodbye to everybody. From what I understand, it was a smaller size business, a team of maybe like 10 people. And basically, when he went to say bye to everybody, everyone kind of was like treated the same way from that boss. So he said bye, I'm going to start my own thing. Well, half the people there were like, hey man, can I come work for you? He took half the people with him. He left his boss with half his workforce in one day, right? That's what happens, man. Like that's not the only time I've seen that. Like that's a common thing out here. So yeah, you just got to make sure respect is there. Like you set the culture, you got to have that respect, and your customers are going to feel that too. Like your customers are going to see through that. Your customers are going to realize if you're not treating your employees fairly. Well, getting into like once you have a product, um you need a process to really like convert people that are like actively trying to solve whatever problem you're trying to solve for them. And when you have that process, then you want to have your product. After you get your product, you want to focus on like what's another level of product you could sell them that's going to help them even more. So once they get whatever it is you're trying to help them with, like what's the next step? Like what's the next step? And at least you can present them with that at the time they make that purchase. Because when you present them with that, they might not want to buy it right there, but then at least they know about it. Like, okay, once I get this solved, there's a next step out there for me. And a lot of people don't even know that, like once they get like one thing solved, because you're, really being like laser focused on one thing at a time, not trying to like solve all kinds of things. A A lot of people don't even know that once they get the one thing solved, that another thing's going to be there, but you do because you are an expert on whatever you're trying to provide people value with. So you've already been through this battle. You've already been through this struggle. You know what's going to happen. Like once you do that first step, you already know what that next step is going to be. So you already know like how to like provide that next line of value. Um, on top of that, uh, over time, you're going to be able to find out like how people can contribute with each other. You want to create some type of community, and this is like really like the biggest business model now, from what I'm seeing with online sales, is having like a community where you can get people on like a monthly subscription. So like yeah, the main thing is providing value. I'm setting something up like that right now. Still working on it. It's going kind of slow, but I just need to get more people on board. Just don't really have enough people yet, and I'm just making it free at the start. Like I'm not trying to charge people right now when there's not too much going on. I'm trying to set something up where I can get people in right now, and they start hopefully receiving some type of value right away, and they're not going to be charged anything. I'm guessing it's going to take at least 6 months to a year before I build this up to the point where I understand it enough where I feel comfortable like actually charging people like a monthly subscription, like Netflix would do or something like that. And it wouldn't be that much; it'd be pretty cheap. But at the end of the day, yeah, like I'm just links in the comments, and it's gonna just be free. So if you'd like, take advantage while you can. Um, Going on to the next thing is like really important, um, especially when you're first starting out, is like referrals, right? Referral marketing is what it's called. If you want to like do more research on it. So it sounds pretty like basic, but the best thing you can do really is ask your customers, after they make the purchase, just to tell them like, hey, if you get value out of this, like if you think you got more value than you actually paid money for, go ahead and tell your friends. And that's another thing, like you want to make sure that whatever you do to help people, whatever product you provide, that the people who buy from you feel like that, if they paid $10 for it, that they're at least getting like $50 of value, preferably like 100. Um, the best thing that can also cause referrals is people successfully solving a problem. I mean, if this is something people have been struggling with for a long time, and you solve it for them, I mean, you can bet they're gonna go and tell their friends like, hey, I've had this problem. That thing that I kept like worrying about, whatever. Well, it finally got solved. I found this thing online, and this person knew exactly what I needed and all that stuff. And chances are, people are gonna know people that have similar problems, and they're gonna explain this to them, and they're gonna go and find your product too. So yeah, I mean, it's all about providing value. It's all about like how much value can you give people, and what's like the minimum you can charge them for that value. So yeah, like I've said before, one of the most important things is like building a marketing list, building an email list that all your people are on. Like talked about channels, I've talked about like you can like do all the advertising, get all the people on social media, whatever, but you don't have control over these platforms. The only thing you really have control over today is an email list. So like I do, what you want to do is try to provide people with as much value as possible. Like your list, really, you don't want to be trying to sell people stuff all the time. Some of these email lists I see out there, like every email I get is like, buy this, buy this, buy this. No, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you can, you've already done the research, already seen what the people in your industry are doing. Like, how can you provide more free value to your customers, to the people that you're trying to help than anybody else? And do this through your email list. So a good rule is like, the 80-20 principle. Like 80% of the information that you give in your email Like, don't even try to sell people stuff. Just give them value. Just give them free value. Just try to help them. And people don't like to be sold to. Um, there's all kinds of like marketing tactics that you can use, like um, say like, if you don't buy this today, cost is gonna go up, whatever, and there's only like one spot left. Well, that just, I mean, me personally too, that just throws me off. Like, I already wanted that. Like, I was already planning on, like, buying that product. I was already looking into it. But the second I feel like somebody's like using some kind of marketing tactic on me, it just kind of like flips a switch in my mind. Like, wait, what's going on? Like, why is this person trying to trick me? Like, I already wanted this. Like, I was already here. I was already trying to like find this solution. This person doesn't need to try and sell this to me. Like, let your customers, just provide them with value and let them make their own decision whether they want to buy your product or not. So, it doesn't seem like I'm getting any comments today. Um, so what I'm gonna do is like come through with these live videos every once in a while. Uh, I feel like the quality of the video is a little higher when I actually do like a video where I edit it and everything. However, that doesn't give me the opportunity to answer anybody's questions. So, so I'm doing these live videos. So I'm gonna come through with these live videos every once in a while. I don't really see anybody has any questions right now, so I think I'm gonna end it here. I feel like I've covered the basics of what I'm trying to say with giving the people what they want. So smash up the likes if you got some value. I hope you did. Um, Subscribe if you haven't already. It'll help when I come through with a live video that you'll know right away. You can get on. If you're trying to work on something, just come to me with any questions. Join the Discord group that's in the app. You can go on there with your questions. I'll be happy to answer it. I'm not trying to get any money. I'm just really trying to like help people right now. Later on down the line, I feel like when I understand more on what people in my group want, I have some ideas right now, but I'll get into that more later. But anyways, that's about it for today. Hope you got some value. Hope you liked what I had to say. Until next time, with no delay, have a good day. All right.